Have you been too scared or intimidated to try intermittent fasting? Or have you started, but you're having some issues or some trouble kind of sticking with it or doing the longer fasts? Let me tell you, it is possible and it can work for you. If you want to know how to do intermittent fasting as a real human being, let me help you. My name's Megan. I'm a mom, a counselor, and a real person struggling to lose weight, just like pretty much everybody else. So if you're curious how I've managed to lose 10 pounds in the last 4 months, let's talk about it. So 10 pounds in 4 months. I know that doesn't sound super impressive. I get it. Everyone wants to lose weight really fast. And to be honest with you, I want to lose weight fast too. I wish I could say that I lost 20 pounds in 4 months or 30 pounds in 4 months. But the truth is, I've only lost 10, but I'm super proud of how I've done it. And I think that the way I've lost those 10 pounds is sustainable and something that's going to carry with me into the next year and something that I'm going to stick with long term. Those are things I never thought I would be able to say. And quite honestly, I've never really been able to lose weight over that span of time ever before in my life. I'm 40 years old. I have tried keto. I've tried the paleo diet. I've tried Slim Fast way back in the day. I've joined Weight Watchers. I've joined Noom. I've pretty much done it all. I used to be a ballet dancer when I was younger, and I was obsessed with being thin. And when I was in my teen years and even up through college into my early 20s, I was pretty thin. I was naturally active. I enjoyed going to dance classes. When I moved to Chicago, I lived in the city and didn't have a car, so I was walking everywhere and I had very physical jobs. I was a waitress for a while and I worked at Blue Man Group doing like picking up the garbage and doing all kinds of stuff that was physical. So during that phase of my life, it wasn't that hard to keep the weight off. But in my mid-20s, I moved to the suburbs. Everything was a 30 to 60 minute drive away. My job that I got was super stressful, and then the next job was super stressful, and then the next job was super stressful. And I just really struggled. I struggled and I kept gaining. So now I'm a mom. My daughter is about 18 months old, and I was holding on to this weight for that whole time until, like I said, until she was about 14 months old. And I just decided enough is enough. I'm tired of looking at these family photos and feeling like I don't fit in. I don't belong here. I'm not attractive in my own eyes. And then also, so that happened in June. We took photos. And then in July, towards the end of July, beginning of August, we went to Mexico to visit my husband's family. And I felt awful. To be honest with you, I was disgusted with myself. I had not been exercising for years. I was eating whatever I wanted, whenever I wanted, however I wanted. And I felt gross. I felt really gross and unhappy with myself. And so, and I'll talk about the numbers, but basically at that point, fortunately and unfortunately, I did get a stomach bug when I was in Mexico, and I dropped about, 4 pounds in that 2 weeks or so. And then I used that as sort of my kickstart to my intermittent fasting journey. So, numbers, let's look at it. Before I got pregnant, so I got pregnant in September of 2021. I was about 173 pounds. That had been kind of where I was hanging out. I'm 5'5", so I was 173 pounds. I got pregnant. I ate whatever I wanted. I craved sweets, so I lived on like chocolate milkshakes and cinnamon toast crunch. Like those were my biggest cravings, and I let myself have it because I didn't have gestational diabetes, so what the heck. So I gained and gained and gained. The very end of my pregnancy, I was 230 pounds. I was extremely uncomfortable. I did not exercise at all the entire pregnancy. By the end, I could barely walk. Like, I had to use one of the little scooters when I went to Walmart. Super uncomfortable. Everything hurt. My joints hurt. My back was always hurting. My hips were hurting. It was horrific. The inflammation in my body was off the charts. It was awful. It was horrible. So fast forward, I gave birth, lost about 30 of those pounds right away. A lot of it was water weight. My baby was really big. She was over 8 pounds. And then I was really sick afterwards, and I wasn't really eating or able to keep food down. So long story short, lost 30 of those pounds right away. So now, June of 2022, July, August of 2022, I'm sitting at about 200 pounds. I stayed at that weight, about 200, maybe down to 196. I stayed around there until I decided I wanted to really take this seriously and get healthy, which was just a few months ago. Now, today it is the end of December of 2023. So I was walking around with all of this weight, feeling horrible about myself, uncomfortable in my own body, short of breath. I'm on blood pressure medications, which I've been on for a few years. It didn't feel good, okay? And so I know myself. I know that being restrictive with my eating is not my jam. It's just not my jam. It's really difficult for me. Cutting out whole food groups is not easy for me. It's not something that I want to do, if I'm being honest. I don't want to stop eating bread. I don't want to stop eating cereal. I don't want to stop eating all of the things that bring me joy. So I decided I was going to research the heck out of intermittent fasting and give it a try, because at least I could still eat pretty much what I wanted, and just restrict the time in which I was going to eat those things. So I thought, right? So I don't know how many videos you've watched about intermittent fasting, but I know that a majority of the ones that I have watched are not just about the timing, but they also they get into like the nitty gritty of the nutrition, right? You've got to try and eat keto and try and focus on eating your weight and protein in grams or whatever. I thought about it and it sounded kind of fun. No, it didn't sound fun. It sounded kind of good, right? Like, yes, I understand that. That makes sense on a logical level. Like, I should eat protein and meat and fruit and vegetables and nuts and seeds and whatever, and then I'll be super skinny and it'll be great. But that's not real for me. It's not real. Like, that's not realistic. I am not going to be happy if I can never eat a piece of pie, or I can never happily have cookies or bread or ice cream or any of the things that I like. So I decided to just take it in tiny little steps. I was gonna just see if I could do a 13-hour fast. Great, fantastic. I did my 13-hour fasts. I felt pretty good. I was like, this is easy. I'm gonna do a 16-hour fast. Started doing my 16-hour fast. I'm gonna be honest with you. At the beginning, I did lose, I lost a few pounds. I'll put it in somewhere, like, cause I did keep track of it. But at the beginning, I lost some weight, okay? But not as fast as I wanted. And I have trouble when I'm not seeing quick down on the scale every day. I get discouraged and then I want to give up. But I said to myself, not this time. I'm not giving up this time. I'm going to stick with it this time, because this is my last resort. This is it. If I want to have a body that I'm comfortable in and healthy in, if I want to get off of my blood pressure medication someday, if I want to feel confident wearing a swimsuit or confident in my family photos next year, I've got to do something. And this was the least restrictive thing I could think of. And not, like I said, nothing else has ever worked for me. I do not ever want to count calories. I'm not going to count my macros. I'm not going to give up food groups. So what's left? Restricting the time in which I eat. So I lost a little bit of weight. I was a little discouraged. It was kind of slow going. And then Thanksgiving happened. And I really struggled. I just said, you know what? I'm taking a break from this. Like, I was still tracking my fasting every day, but there were days when I was only, doing like a 13-hour fast every day, and then also eating kind of whatever I wanted. And that clearly was not working for me, but I was kind of maintaining. I went up and down a little. It seemed like there was a period of time where I started after the getting sick in Mexico. I got down to 193, I think 193.2. And then eventually I got down to 187.2, and I could not get past 187.2. I felt like whatever I was doing, it was not getting me over that hump, and it was so frustrating. And so, like I said, for Thanksgiving, I was like, forget it, whatever. I'm not going to worry about it. After 2 weeks, I was back up to 188. And then I said to myself, Megan, you have to get serious. And I got serious. I started doing 18-hour plus fasts every day, except maybe like one day a week I would take off or just do like a 15-hour. And so that has worked. Now I'm doing pretty consistently 19 to 20-hour fasts pretty much every day. I just completed my first 2 24-hour fasts this past week, and I am proud to say that I am now over that hump, and I'm down to 184.6. So I've lost, since I went back up, I've lost almost 4 pounds, like 3.5 pounds in the last couple weeks, which is fantastic. So that's why I feel comfortable making this video, because I feel like I've finally, even though I don't have a long storied history of success, I do feel like I've finally hit my groove and I've figured out what works without being ridiculously obsessed with all the details of the diet. The one thing I will say that has worked for me more than anything else is I started to work with my body instead of against it. I was trying to eat dinner with my family at first, where in the time period that I was struggling with the intermittent fasting, I was eating dinner with my family, and sometimes my husband wouldn't get home from work until like 6:30. So I was closing my eating window at like 7:30 at night, which was then pushing me way into the middle of the day the next day if I wanted to do a longer fast. That was so hard. It was so hard. And to boot, I'm usually not that hungry in the evening. I'm usually my most hungry in the morning. And so for me, trying to fast that way so that I could eat dinner with my family, it was just not working. It was just not a positive experience for me. And so as soon as I switched over to skipping dinner instead of skipping breakfast, my whole life changed. It was so easy. Like, at first I was still mentally a little bit intimidated by that idea, and the idea of doing a 24-hour fast was like, pooh, I don't know how people do that. I'm still a little like, I'm flirting with the idea of doing a 36-hour fast, but I'm still kind of like, I don't know about that. But maybe one day, right? Never say never. I think if I hit a plateau in my journey, the 36 hours is probably what I'll try to kind of reboot a little bit. But all of that to say, if I can give you, I don't know, a piece of advice, or not advice, I guess, and not medical advice. I'm not a professional. I'm not a dietitian. I'm not a anything to do with nutrition. So take it for what it's worth. But what worked for me was figuring out what worked with my body was number one, instead of fighting against it. So my fasts right now usually look like I open my eating window around 9 a.m. or so, and I try to close it by 1:30 or 2 o'clock. And so I have that amount of time to eat. And then after that, I'm done. And when my family has dinner, I take that time and have a cup of herbal tea with nothing in it, or I will do the dishes. Sorry, I'm in my kitchen, so that's what I'm gesturing to is the sink. But yeah, so when my family's eating, I just do my thing. It's not a big deal. I've explained what I'm doing to my family, and that's what's working. I'm losing about 1.5 pounds a week now on this schedule of 20 plus hours, 19 to 20 plus hours most days of the week, so probably 6 days out of the week. And then eating kind of what I want. Although I will say I am trying to focus on getting in as many nutrients as I can. Like I'll make myself a green smoothie with some protein and fruit and spinach and kale and chia seeds, the whole thing. So that's probably the healthiest thing that I do, just to try and get some nutrients in. I do try to make sure I get protein in, like a protein shake or protein bar, or add protein powder to my smoothie. But other than that, I just eat what I want. So I'll have a bagel with cream cheese, or I'll have a piece of apple pie. If I feel like it, I'll have a salad. If I don't feel like it, I'll have McDonald's. Not every day, but it's fine. It's not going to throw my whole life off. I'll have a sandwich. I'll have pasta, whatever. It doesn't matter. In fact, the most weight I've lost has been Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, when I had flan and ham and cinnamon rolls and cookies and cheesecake, and bread and crackers and just all the stuff that you have at a holiday celebration. I had all those things, but I was just coming off of my 2 24-hour fasts. And I also, on Christmas Day itself, I had a normal fasting day. So, because we did brunch instead of dinner together. So it's possible. What I'm trying to tell you is intermittent fasting is possible. For me, for somebody who's kind of like a big picture person, and I really struggle to focus on tiny details like tracking calories, or things like that, this has been amazing. Like, it has really freed me up. I don't have to think about, oh, should I not have that cookie? Oh, should I not have that piece of chocolate? I have it. I have banana nut muffins. I eat whatever my daughter's eating. Like, I'll have the chips or the crackers off of her plate. It's fine. It's fine. It's not going to hurt me because I'm restricting the time in which I'm eating, and I'm giving my body that rest for those 20 hours or 24 hours or 19 hours, whatever it is. Giving my body that rest, that chance to kind of recuperate. And obviously, if I'm only allowing myself to eat in a certain window, I'm sure that that's restricting my calories. Maybe one day I'll try and do some sort of accounting of how many calories I'm actually eating in a normal day, just out of curiosity. But that is absolutely not something that I ever want to worry about. And it's not something I really care to think about. So anyway, if this was helpful for you, I am so glad. I hope it was relatable. I hope it was helpful for you. And if you are kind of on the fence, maybe I hope it's inspirational to you to try it. I would say for me, it was important to start slow. It was important to not jump right into those longer fasts. I had to kind of build up my confidence and build up my track record so that I felt happy and confident that I could do a longer fast. And like I said, I'm not a professional. I am a professional, but not in this area of expertise. I'm not a nutritionist. I'm not a doctor. or anything like that. So I recommend that you talk with your doctor if you are thinking about starting any diet or exercise program, because it might not be great for everybody, but this is what worked for me. So thank you so much. If you made it this far, I really appreciate it. This is one of my first videos on this channel, so if you wouldn't mind subscribing, hitting the like button, I'd really appreciate it. Thank you so much, and we will see each other again in the next video. Thank you. Bye-bye.